What I'd like to do today is spend about 20 minutes going through what we've learned in the field regarding state of UC managed services, what are some of the dynamics that are involved today, what are end customers looking for from partners and vendors regarding unified communications and management strategies. Diving right in, the real challenge ahead is that unified communications is quite sophisticated and definitely requires the expertise of partners and vendors to help them roll it out. But IT buyers are really demanding solutions that don't increase their own workload or risk. The workload involved certainly is deploying the solution, but also upgrading it, keeping it running very smoothly. And as we'll talk about, something that sprawls across the entire IT infrastructure. So this is really something that creates a lot of management day-to-day work and risk for the customer. So obviously, as an IT buyer, they want to minimize that. Now, solution providers really need to manage what they sell. So they're ultimately presenting solutions to customers and then saying, here you go, manage this all yourself. And that used to work in the sort of traditional voice market, but now with the combination of the voice over IP and unified communications, and today's buyer being a sophisticated IT buyer, that's not working as well. And really it's about, there's enough competitors out there that they're presenting themselves very well as a trusted provider, as a, quote, consultant to the IT buyer and saying, here is the best solution and why don't we roll it out for you? And they'll charge money for the deployment, but then also a monthly recurring fee to remotely operate the solution on their behalf. Now the challenge is, how does an average service provider demonstrate their ability to remotely manage a customer? And we see this as a very key issue in working with providers to be able to sell managed services. And the second is, what is their capability of taking not only the unified communications, but the infrastructure it depends on, and be able to manage that from cloud to premise and across the multi-vendor environment that assuredly exists there. And lastly, IT is now sharing a lot of workload with various providers, and that becomes a real opportunity for the average group to sell into those groups and saying, I should be one of those groups that helps extend your resources and your capabilities. And that's what we really term managing what you sell. And so the opportunity is to drive annuity revenue by surrounding a core solution of unified communications and infrastructure by saying, we're going to manage what we sell. We're going to wrap this into a solution where you're paying a monthly fee, and we take, the partner takes the risk on and the operational workload. And the benefit to the end customer is they get all of the goodness of their solution with a limited amount of T workload that comes with it. Servera is my company that I founded, and we work with partners throughout North America in helping them roll out managed services. So if you're wondering where this content is coming from, it's really in participating in about 50 or more rollouts of unified communications and managed service offerings. So this is really the information from the field, if you will. And, when we're in the room with partners trying to sell managed services, I really get the sense that customers are saying, look, don't bring in this solution and then throw 100% of the work on my plate and for my team to handle it. And I'm not looking for a vendor to buy from. I really need some kind of advisor to help me through this project and beyond, because, as we know, the technology powering collaboration is going to keep changing as it goes forward every day. And I think a lot of customers are tired of saying, oh, everything's going to work smoothly, you just drop a few boxes in and everything is magical. I mean, as we all know, unified communications is in front of all of the end users every day, whether it's born out of experience within Outlook or whether they're doing instant message or voice and video conferencing. This is definitely something that end users love, but they will definitely be loud if it does not work well. So really customers do want to have different management paths. So they don't want to be thrust into one strategy or another. They really want options to say, I'm a do-it-ourselves type of group, but I would like your help in training us, all the way to we don't really have the capacity or skill set to manage this unified communication solution, so we would like to hand that off to the partner. I think there's often a failure of people to demonstrate what their process is and their management platform to help make a customer feel very secure that they're experts and that they've done this before and that it makes a lot of sense for them to hand it off to the partner. Also, there's a lot of understanding that can impact on today's environment. I think the idea is if there's going to be UC benefits to end users, and you think about the new sort of software and hardware that enables the dozens of solutions that are out there, there's all these new technologies that are so tightly dependent on the customer's infrastructure. This is their network, whether it's cloud or premise, all the switching and routing and gateways. Then you think, wow, unified communications depends on so many vendors all integrating smoothly. And so it really brings to bear the question of what is a management platform that's going to unify all of this, and what are the people and process it's going to take to make it all work. So we found the most successful way to present a managed service offering is to present to the customer really the 3 Ps. One is that custom-built platforms that will be able to manage real-time quality of experience. So when end users do have a problem, that there's proactive watching of that. That system needs to be equally good at managing and monitoring network health, and of course, scan all the alarms and performance risks that might be coming out of the unified communication servers themselves. And so that's the platform part, the automation and backbone to the overall strategy. Now the process, what do the humans do? What do your techs do when there's an issue? And you've had all these issues before. Walk me through that. And getting a customer comfortable that there's a very scalable way that you manage them is important. And then the 3rd P, of course, is the talent. It's the people. So a lot of end customers don't have a deep bench of talent when it comes to unified communications. So really what they want is to understand partners' talent and what those people can do. And when you put the 3 Ps together, you are talking about going to a customer and saying, we've done this before, we can bring everything to bear, and that gives you the most benefit at the least amount of cost. And I think it manifests very strongly in a sort of partner-led or do-it-yourself mentality. And I think this is the real secret technique that has allowed the partners we work with to be successful. And it's really the following pitch. At the end of demonstrating the UC solution and walking them through all those benefits, it changed the conversation to, why don't we talk about management strategies, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer? And really we work with customers in 2 fashions. One is where it's partner-led, which means we'll do the deployment. We've got the platforms, process, and people. This is going to be the fastest way for you to be in market using the technologies, and it's risk-free in that sense. We'll train all your users, and we're not going to require a lot of your internal staff time cost. And so you can be as engaged as you like in that process, but ultimately we'll take responsibility for making sure it gets deployed wonderfully and that it operates on an ongoing basis. And so that's partner-led. Now, the other strategy is there's a lot of customers who are more of a do-it-yourself sort of team. And that's fine. Your team will drive the process, but let the partner guide the customer on the deployment, as well as train on the management platform, and really take advantage of everything that the partner has learned. And then the partner becomes sort of a level 3 and beyond team of backup support for the customer. And so if you're really sort of looking at the nuance here, one is saying the partner is leading and they're going to take care of everything, or it's a do-it-yourself scenario, but the partner is still highly engaged and they still drive management or service revenue because they're selling services around deployment as well as level 3 support and beyond. Some of the stages of the sales cycle we've documented here. One of the big hits when it comes to unified communications is selling a readiness assessment. And this is going to a customer and saying, we understand your unified communication requirements. Why don't we get a sense for what your environment looks like, how well it's going to support voice and video, as well as give you an inventory, a sort of state of the union, if you will, of what your environment looks like. And so a good platform would be able to generate the traffic and test a customer's network, as well as be able to look at what applications and what the performance of the network infrastructure is today. Now, the second key message is really going to the customer and saying, we're going to deploy this, and then we're going to implement a process that's going to control change. And change is really the threat to unified communications, because everything will be working fine one day, and then there will be problems down the road. So if I'm a customer, I want to hear that you can measure quality of experience in real time of an end user, understand if someone has screwed up a configuration change within the network, understand if there's a load or bandwidth or congestion issue, as well as are the dozens of servers that it takes to make this all work, are they all performing as expected? So key message here is about telling the customer that you have a process and automation to control change after it's been implemented. Then when it comes to monitoring and response, this is often something that partners fail to bundle in, which is something that says after deployment and beyond, we've got eyes on your environment. We're going to be watching in real time if there's issues. People will be paged, and we'll take problems all the way to conclusion. And we'll be doing that in conjunction with your team, but we'll certainly take the lead in making sure it all is working. And there's a lot of workflows that are involved between the customer IT staff and the partner IT staff. So here's a screenshot of being able to look at a customer's environment from the top down, from a sort of high-level cloud or network view, as well as getting down to the nitty-gritty of looking at, a specific voice LAN problem and seeing how a particular endpoint quality is. So I think demonstrating systems like this to a customer just tells the customer, wow, you've really thought this all through. You've got the people, you've got the experts, and this platform seems to make sure that we can be objective. We can look at problems, and if they occur, we can be looking at the same information and work together to solve the problem. Clearly, at the end of every month, customers want reports. Here's what's running on your network. Here are the end users who are having some issues. And when it comes to quality monitoring and management, I highly recommend deploying a solution to be able to measure all that and be able to show to the customer if there is an issue, it's quite likely on their network, which might be something the partner didn't even sell to them to begin with. But rather than point fingers, this kind of solution can objectively bring it to light, and then the partner can work with the customer to solve those problems. And this is really the power of managed services, is that it flips it around from saying, why doesn't your solution work, and it turns it into a collaboration to the problem, and that's what really justifies the monthly fee that the customers pay. In summary, the IT managed services with the cross-section of unified communications is just such a powerful opportunity. In the world where we used to sell a ton of voice gear and it would work fine with no problem, that was one world. But today, an average IT buyer knows that these technologies are sophisticated. They know they don't have a lot of staff or capacity to handle it, and they're looking for a provider who can help deploy a UC solution and then manage it, which would reduce their workload and their risk. And what a great opportunity, especially in this economy, to be able to sell managed services and grow your annuity revenues. Remember to sell the 3 Ps, the platforms, process, and people. So the platforms are something that should be geared 100% for unified communications and should have the capabilities to do quality of experience, network infrastructure, as well as the UC servers, and enable the partners' technicians to come in and do the workload remotely. The process is something that is really what are the exact documented steps of what a partner is going to do for the customer so that that customer can feel comfortable that problems are going to be resolved. And the people component is always a struggle because, there's a limited amount of deep talent when it comes to unified communications. But I think the opportunity is really to say, we've got those people, and go to the customer and say, why don't you just pay us on a monthly basis and we'll manage the environment for you. And lastly, you can really sort of position managed services not as this particular thing or noun. You're just saying, let's talk about management strategies. Because are you more of a group where you would like us to assist in the ongoing management, where we would lead, and you're really just entrusting us to take responsibility for it? Or would you like it to be a do-it-yourself scenario, but we'll have your back? We'll be your level 3 support, and we'll train you to operate it yourself. And in both scenarios, the partner makes money.